The short version is I'm a therapist by trade, and I started working doing therapy and thinking I was going to teach everybody what I'd learned from college. Out of the textbooks, I was going to talk to people about mental strength, but I really set out on a journey to know more about mental strength when I went through a series of losses in my own life. My mom passed away when I was 23, and then when I was 26, my husband passed away and I became a widow. And I started studying people with this new sense of urgency because I wanted to know what makes some people go through tough times and grow from it, and what makes some people get stuck. And as a therapist, it was like I had a revolving door of case studies in my office every day. And I realized it wasn't always about what people did. Sometimes it was more about what they didn't do. People who didn't have certain bad habits tended to do better in life. And so a few years later, my father-in-law was diagnosed with cancer, and my heart was already broken, and I just thought, I can't lose another loved one, but obviously I didn't have a choice. And so I wrote myself a letter of what mentally strong people don't do. And when I was done, I had a list of 13 things, and I would read over that list, and I found it to be helpful. So I thought, if this helps me, maybe it will help somebody else. I published it online, and 15 million people read that article.
Crazy, yeah.
And it changed the course of my life. So now, here we are a number of years later, and I now have 4 books on mental strength, and I spend most of my time talking and teaching people what I learned in my personal journey and as a therapist.
Question for you. You went through all this process. Did you have a therapist for you?
At the time, I did not. I did get one later on. At the time, I think for a while I thought, as a therapist, I know this stuff, so I can get myself through it. But then I realized at some point along the journey that doctors see doctors for a reason, and it's okay as a therapist to see my own therapist.
Cool. Yeah, that's you're a kind of reference in terms of mental strength for sure. I see you everywhere. I see you on LinkedIn as well. So thank you for this explanation. I didn't know the whole details of the story, but that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was a lot.
Yeah. So thanks again for joining. We're going to talk more about these things in deep. Sonia, please go ahead. Tell us more about you.
First, I'm just so happy to be here. I'm, who I am is one that supports and stands for women like that, people like that. Amy, I love that. I support you. I stand for you. And to me, my bio's everywhere. It's not about me. It's about the impact about other people. Like, I'm a coach, I'm a consultant, we have a great media agency, and what we do, and my greatest mission is life, is just to show up and to stand for other people and to impact other people. And to me, there's a generation that we need to lead into a life of positivity and a life of what they actually can accomplish in their life. So I'm writing my book as well, and I take them through a methodology where you are able to get to the goals that you want in your life. I think there's such beauty in tapping into your alignment. There's beauty in tapping into your potential. And I love to surround myself with people like you, both of you, to just remind people that there is beauty, there is joy, and there is impact to be made at every single moment. So my game is about that. My life is about that. I breathe it. That's why I have so much energy, and I just want to keep, bringing communities together. And that's why I have a phenomenal community, which I love and I show up to every single day, no matter what.
That's the thing. Yeah. And that's going to be in your book as well, I guess, this whole story about you and where you're coming from and where you're going and why you do all these things. Because if somebody is positive in life, I think that I haven't seen anybody more positive than you, to a point that sometimes I think what happened to you when you're not happy?
Yeah, and I think, the beauty is through my platform, I really come from a place of authenticity, meaning I'm going to show you when it's hard. I'm going to talk to you when it's hard. I have, 2 kids, 3 stepsons, a business, but I'm not trying to do this to show the pretty side. I want to just give you one tip, one today that's going to make you shine, and that's going to say, no matter what, there's habits that you need to create in your life. So every single morning, we're going to get it in. And every single morning, we're in choice to choose. And I come from a really difficult life, and I still go through so many difficulties, but through methodologies and through mindset, you're able to really shift into what's actually possible for you. So that's really the message that I want to scream to everyone, that we're all
one day at the time. Sonia, you are so right on that. I think that's the way to do it. And maybe when you have that look in your own life, you can definitely find one thing that is good for you for today and make it happen. And then most of people, they just wake up in the morning and they go through the day, the 24 hours, without even thinking of what is the achievement of the day they have to do or whatsoever. So I do stick to that approach as well. I love it. So let's jump into the subjects. So as you said, and as people know here, I've been away from social media, and it was a fantastic experience for me. But interestingly, I noticed that I was spending 2 hours and 30 minutes a day on social media, plus the time making my videos. And I like to be kind of intellectual. I'm a nerd. So all my posts are, I do some research. So a post was like 5 or 6 hours work. And I have several businesses aside on that in the biotech industry. And at the end of the day, I just realized that I was spending too much time on social media. And I said, I'm just going to try to shut it off. But matter of fact, it started by anxiety right away. I was so scared of missing something, either from friends or my life, or comments that I couldn't answer, things like that. And after 24 hours, it was gone. And I was just back at training. So the first question I have for you guys is, too much scrolling, like we do all day long on our phones or computer, is it a generator of anxiety, stress, and can it lead to depression? I'm going to start by asking Amy your opinion, then I'm going to have Sonia's feedback on that. Please.
Yeah, often our willingness to pick up our phone and start scrolling comes from a desire to distract ourselves from what's going on. We're bored, we're lonely, we're anxious, and it serves as a momentary distraction from those emotions. But what we find is, as you're scrolling through social media, very few people say, gosh, I feel so much better now that I've seen what my friends are doing, or I've checked out what's going on in the world. It tends to make us feel worse. And this is especially true if we envy people on social media, which we often do. We look at Instagram and see what our friends, where they're on vacation, and other people who are talking about what a great day they had. And it can cause us to become a little bit jealous, to think, oh, I wish I could be like that. That's directly linked to depression. And studies will show that the more depressed we are, often the more time we spend on social media. It's a vicious cycle that's hard to break.
Okay.
And the less active we are, when we're depressed, we tend to sit on the couch and pick up our phones. It becomes too easy to do. And we found that also it interferes with the joy in our life. When we're sitting at dinner with our partner and you keep picking up your phone, it's making that dinner opportunity a lot less enjoyable than it could be, because it's distracting you from the moment. Or even when you're watching a movie and you pick up your phone and you start scrolling, you get less joy from watching that movie because you're now distracted by your phone. So it's so important to just become more aware of our habits, because often we don't even realize we're doing it. How often have you ever opened Instagram, put your phone down, and then opened up Instagram because you almost don't even realize you were just on it? And, or when you're in line at the grocery store and you're bored for a minute, the automatic reaction for a lot of people is to just take out your phone and scroll. And we're not even enjoying it. We're not really being intentional about our usage. And so it takes such a toll on our brain, our emotional well-being, and can wreak havoc on our lives. And I'm not against social media. Obviously, I use it. It's just about being more intentional about how much time we put into it and how we're using it, so that it doesn't become a constant distraction that then creates bigger problems in our lives. And almost any coping skill can be good or bad for us, whether it's I like to exercise or I like to do yoga. Doing too much of anything isn't healthy. And when it comes to social media, most of us struggle to put limits on it, because we know that it's always there. It's so handy to just take out your phone, whether you're waiting for an appointment or you're sitting in your house. Most of us have our phones with us 24/7.
Yeah, I agree on that. And multitasking is not good for the brain for sure. Anyway,
Right.
and having the phone is something that some people are actually even have their life around their phone, and waiting or not waiting, it's the priority even before talking to their wife or husband or kids. So totally with you on that. Sonia, your point on it, please.
Let me give the other side of the coin so that we can have, I think that there's a beautiful learning at every moment. And the beautiful learning is to be intentional. Why are you on social media? Why? Start with that. Why are you on your platform? What is your platform about? What are you sharing about? And who are these accounts that you're following? Once you get clarity on why you are doing what you're doing, then you start to be intentional about it. And then you get your power back. For me, people will go, oh my God, Sonia, I can have 100 stories on my I have 0 notifications. I coach all day long. I have a very big business, and I'm completely intentional. Why? Because I know exactly why I'm using my social media. And I will get to inspiration, hop on. I'm a speaker also. So for me to hop on and do a 15-second, I don't get any judgment. I don't care if people think I'm pretty or not. I will not redo a story. I'm very, very focused on why I'm using this tool. And it is a tool. So
it is.
We need
it should be.
to know everything in our life. Everything, including and especially social media. And imagine that if you were able to bring your power back and say, I'm using this, and I'm going to give myself a little 10-minute because I like to follow these inspirational accounts, and maybe I need a little inspiration. You hop on, you hop off, you're done. You're onto your business, onto your kids, onto your relationships.
But that's hard to do. It's easy to say, but it's super hard to do, because most of the people, as Amy said, they're not going to discipline themselves that way. They're going to go on social media because they have some minute free just for that. If you go on purpose and you find that, I'll do this 15 minutes live, or 15 minutes story, or 15 story of 1 minute whatsoever, you do it on purpose. But most of the time, what is dangerous, I guess, is that you don't know why you're going on social media.
Right? To educate people that life isn't supposed to be easy, and we're going to give them tools to be on purpose about their life. And if they want to choose social media, they have to be in choice, and they have to have an intention, and they have to have boundaries, like everything else in your life.
Yeah, right. Amy, what do you think about that?
Definitely. There's ways to use social media to grow mentally stronger. And if you follow just inspirational accounts, ones that build you up, ones that teach you things, it can definitely be a tool. I mean, there's plenty of mental health apps that you could have, but you can also just say on social media, who am I going to follow that helps me, that teaches me? Never before have we been able to have a computer at our fingertips at any moment of the day, or to get an inspirational message from someone. So if we were able to do that, and then if we had rules that we followed, there's tons of studies that show sleeping with your smartphone next to you creates a lot of anxiety in your life. And yet most of us, when we say put the smartphone in the kitchen and then go to bed in your bed, most of us, our anxiety immediately spikes, and we think, I can't do that because what if there's an emergency at 3 a.m, or what if I need to use my phone as my flashlight, or that's my alarm clock? But when they did studies on this, they found almost everybody got really anxious about it the first couple of nights. But once the study ended, something like 90% of people said, yeah, I'm never going to sleep with my phone in my room again, because it made my life that much better.
And that's one, yeah.
And I think that if we did that as just an experiment, like you just did an experiment, I think we should always be running experiments on ourselves. Like, how would I feel if I left my phone in a different room at night? Or at the very least, what if I come to the conclusion that I'm not going to ever use my phone in my bed? So then maybe if you're going to use your phone in your bedroom, you at least have to sit in a chair or stand up on the other side of the room. And don't have it just next to your head. See what happens. Or maybe you say, okay,
Yeah, sorry, but if you do that at night, you better have some blue light blockers as well, because you're going into your circadian rhythm, and you screw up your whole cycle for sleep at the same time. So it's worse.
Yeah. That's the other thing we know is the screen, the light from the screen alone interferes with the melatonin in our brain. But for most people, when they're scrolling, it also raises their blood pressure, their anxiety. So then it makes it even tougher to sleep. And then people will say, well, I wake up at 2 a.m. and what do? I pick up my phone and start checking social media in the middle of the night, or I check my email. And again, it just messes up our brains, messes up our lives. And it's a hard cycle to break. Once you get in that cycle, it's really tough to get out of it. But I still encourage people to try it as an experiment just for a few days and see what happens.
Oh, that's definitely, that was one of the things, like people were texting me and I was just saying, try 24 hours. You're going to see the difference, just 24 hours. But the problem we have with social media in general is like you said, following people on purpose with nice account, inspirational accounts and stuff like that. But most people on Instagram or even on other social media now, on Instagram, they're going to follow you and make comments on your post to get comments back to their post and make a like. But if you don't put a comment back or you don't like their post, it's gone. They're not following you, they're just dropping you. So that's a difficult task to maintain. And as you said, Sonia, what is the goal of all of that? Are you on social media to get more likes and comments and feel better?
No, I'm not.
That's it.
I don't get validation from social media. So what I think again is the beautiful opportunity is look at all these people that are here, can have a pen and a paper and take one takeaway out of this life. That's the only reason why I know all three, because I know the only reason why we're here is to help and so that our people can get one tip out of this. So imagine the value that they have. Maybe they're on their lunch break. Maybe they have it on their phone on the side and they're like, you know what? That's a great thing. Let me put my phone to the side. Boom, that's one tip. Write it down. Let's implement that.
Maybe they can wait until we finish our live, otherwise we're going to drop our audience. So wait until we finish, then drop your phone for 24 hours, guys.
Wait, there's more. There's so much.
How long would be a detox? For me, it was 10 days, and I took the decision I was posting every day before, and either a post or a reel or IGTV stories every day. But since that detox, I just said, I'm going to do one post a week, one good content on what I'm trying to preach in terms of learning and mindset. And no more than that. So I took that decision. I know that I'm going to pay the price of probably losing a couple of followers, but it's okay. That's my choice, as you said. So for me, it was 10 days. What do you guys recommend in terms of length of detox? Amy, you said 24 hours is just enough to start, but would it be better to do it 30 days?
Well, I think there's lots of different ways that people can do this. Some people might find that one Saturday a month is good. So for one Saturday, they say, okay, I'm not going to use my phone. Maybe on those days I even go hiking somewhere where there's not even a good signal, so I'm not tempted to pick it up. So I think it's all about experimenting. For what works for me may not necessarily always work for everyone else. So some families maybe say after 7 p.m. we don't use our phones at all.
True.
So you might figure out what works best for you, for your business. Some people who are self-employed might not feel like it's an option to get rid of their phones altogether, but maybe you say on the weekends I delete social media apps. I still use my phone, I just don't use my social media apps.
That's what I was saying before, yeah.
And so I think for people to just design experiments for themselves and stick it out for a while. For some people, they might notice a difference after 24 hours. I'm a big fan of 30-day experiments, but I don't know a lot of people that will go 30 days without social media if they're running a business. So then you might just set up rules that say, okay, every Saturday or every Sunday, I'm taking it off and see how it affects your life. Good.
Yeah, I was doing that before. Just the Sunday were for me what I call the intermittent fasting. So one day a week just out of Instagram. But at the end of the day was not enough. Honestly, it's just because you come back on Monday and what you want to do is, what kind of comments did I get? Did I answer everyone? Oh my God, I have too many comments to answer because I try to answer everyone. So it was generating stress on a Monday, which is already a day where you are more stressed than usual because you start the week. It's natural. It's our brain that works that way. Yeah, I think that I would personally recommend a minimum of 2-3 days off just to get the effects, the impact. But it can work for some, for others not. And for you, Sonia, what do you think?
So literally,
No break at all.
step 2 of my book is not just detox. I call it the reset, because for some reason, detox is very triggering to people, because we figure a diet. It's like a diet. When you take out something, all of a sudden, if you tell me I can't eat carbs, I can't eat sugar, I can't eat coffee, all of a sudden you're kind of craving it, and it gives you this reaction where if we take out phones, 94% of people, that when you take out their phones, they get into anxiety. So what I love is to go through kindness and to do this really nicely with intention. So instead of seeing it as I need to detox because there's, again, the mindset of there's something wrong, I rather this beautiful, discussion about, well, what do you want to create in your life? And why I love reset is because by creating space in your life, that's where the ideas, that's where creativity, that's where people show up. So for me, when I coach my clients, and social media is such a real thing, but again, what I go to, hold on, let's get back to the intentions. And sometimes right now what's happening is people are so overwhelmed. They're just overwhelmed.
Well, it's what happening in the world makes them feel even more
out of control. But what does that mean? What does that mean? Does it mean that I'm stepping out of my platform? No. I take a step back and I go, hold on a second. What is my intention? I need to reset. What does that mean? Sometimes it's not just social media. Look at your toxic relationships around you. Look at the people around you. That's the real detox, or how I like to say, a reset. Because I would, what if, okay, great, you're deleting your social, but then you're calling your friend who's freaked out about.
No. For Sonia, no one answered the phone anymore.
So
you're gonna get voicemail.
So I rather a nice detox and reset on negative people. So I think what's beautiful is to take a step back and say, let me actually do a self-analysis of where I am, where I need to go, and what are the negative triggers in my life. Start with that. If that shows up to be social media, I love it. That's beautiful. Let's create a game plan for that. If it happens to be negative people, if it happens to be sugar, coffee, alcohol, drugs, whatever it is that is your negative trigger, let's just take a little reset. And
drugs is gonna be hard for some.
It's okay. Nothing's supposed to be easy. Get that out. It's not supposed to be easy. But what is beautiful is, again, once we get clarity into what it is that we're trying to bring into our life, we have to clear the space. We have to look for this, oh, I'm strolling. No, what's strolling? Put your phone down, speak. Have a real conversation with a friend. Be present to this moment. How about that? Let's go back to being present.
That's fantastic. So do you consider that people on Instagram are real friends?
Some of them.
Some of them?
Some of them. Listen, you know what's beautiful? Let me show you something. Let me show you how to create a profile and a personal brand that is so completely aligned with who you authentically are, and watch who shows up in your life. Watch who shows up in your life. People are trying to get communities like this, but build online community. My girls know me. My people know me. They cheer for me. I cheer for them. They know my kids. They know my family. They know me. And if I by 11 o'clock don't have a story of my morning, they'll be like, Sonia, you okay? But they need that.
So there is a certain addiction into social media. So the term of detox is fine there.
Absolutely. But no, be so aligned with it, Be so kind with yourself. It's not because you hear it on social that you should stop social that you need to stop social. Maybe it's your negative people. It's not because you heard on social that now keto's strong that you have to go into keto.
No, it's not that. Don't even think about it.
Same thing.
Yeah. You are so right. Amy, you wrote on Very Well Mind a lot of article about social media distancing or detox or resets, as Sonia said. And I've tried to read a couple of them, and they all link to the same thing. They all go to one point, is depression. Looks like there is a big link in between both social media and depression.
There is. It's it's an addiction in so many different ways, sort of like somebody who says, I have a gambling addiction. I'd like to stop, but yet they can't because they get the high off of it. We get this dopamine rush when we click on something or we see that somebody liked one of our pictures. It often makes us feel good. So then we keep going back to it, even though in the long term, it can be bad for our mental health. And it's not necessarily that it's bad for all of us or it's bad all the time. But again, it just goes back to being more aware of your habits, how it's affecting your mental health, and being able to set limits. If you struggle to set limits, like you say, okay, I'm only going to use social media for 30 minutes or 1 hour a day, and you find yourself still doing it for 4 hours a day, that's a problem. And if you find... Right. And if you find it's making you feel worse, yet you keep going back to it again, that's a problem. And we just need to develop more self-awareness of how it's affecting us and the state it keeps us in. I talk a lot about mental strength and the way that certain things affect the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we behave. So social media may make you think, my life's not as good as everybody else's. In turn, you may feel bad about yourself and about your life. And in terms of your behavior, you might not want to go out and do things because you think, what's the point? Or my life's not that good. On the other hand, somebody else might think, all right, social media, they look at social media and they just think, oh, that person's better than I am. I can't be like that. They feel bad. They give up. They don't try things. Of course, there are other people that look at it and think, oh, this person's awesome. And they get inspired by it. They feel good. And then they go out and say, I'm going to try to be like that too. So it all depends on how it influences us, and becoming more aware of how certain pictures, certain images, certain conversations influence us is really important so that we can manage it in a way that's really healthy.
It's true. In terms of serotonin release and addiction and all these endorphins, it's always good to get a certain feedback that makes you feel better. We're still, when we wake up in the morning, the first thing we want to do is to have that release, to make sure that the day is going to be a good day and not having negative emotion during the day and things like that. So how do we get the bridge that cuts the rush of that endorphins or serotonin? Like, we're looking for it, we're getting it. And how do we say, have enough for today? I can go through my day, and what makes me take that choice? This is mental strength for sure. But do we have any tips to give our audience on this? Yeah, Sonia, you do?
Yeah, of course.
Well,
Getting your validation. I don't get my validation from likes on social media. I my validation from my baby girl waking up in the morning and going, Mommy,
definitely.
I get my high not on the number of likes. I don't give a shit if I know my content's good. I know it's good. And I know I'm not tied to being the trendy content. I'll give you a reel about happiness because that's, in my world, that's what my community needs to hear. I don't give a shit if there's 5 likes or 3 shares. I'm going to find my audience and my audience is going to find me, but that's not where you get your validation. That's not where you get your happiness. Your happiness starts the moment that you wake up and you feed your mind. You feed your mind with the good stuff. You feed your mind with the positive stuff. And then you go for a walk and you move your body. And you move your body, and that's where I get my dopamine. That's where I get my endorphins, not from people telling me I'm pretty or they liked my post or ooh, that is completely not where we all need to get our validation. And then we go out in the real world and we have epic conversations and we impact and we are intentional about what our day is going to look like. That is so beautiful. For me to my time on a post, and in what world? Why am I? No. I take back the power of social, and I am okay with me showing up, and I am okay with me choosing not to show up, as long as I'm in choice. And the beautiful thing is, one last point that I really want to get across is, in this thing of comparison of how many followers they have and how many, like, this is so silly, let's put it aside. And let's go into, we all have a gift. We all have a story to tell, and we will all impact through our stories. So forget, Jean or Amy or Sonia who have, I don't even know how many followers. It doesn't even matter. I like Amy because she's phenomenal. I like Jean because he walked in and he's so great. I don't care if we have 3 people on the live because maybe we'll have 2 and we'll impact 1 and our job is done.
Oh, yeah.
Our job is done.
But Sonia, this is called motivation. Let's say you lost your motivation. That was one of the questions we had. How do you get it back?
It's in it. It's within. That's a beautiful.
You have to initiate here. You have to put the fire there.
But now's a beautiful time to reset. Now's the time. When you're like, if you feel overwhelmed, you're feeling like you don't have control and power on your own intentions and on your own goals and on your own mission and your own purpose. And you're like, that's the time where you do the work. That's the time.
Right.
Not feeling goose and the energized, put everything away. Forget just socials, emails, detox from it all. Get into your head, because the only truth and the only real magic and essence of who you are comes from your own alignment, not from anything on the outside, not from any validation from anybody else, not your parents, not your husband, not your girlfriend, you. So now it's time to detox, to get the clarity back, and then you come back with intention.
I see Amy saying yes. Amy, you're a therapist, so go.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many people come into my therapy office and complain about things like, I don't have time. I didn't have time to work on this week. I don't have time to do the therapy homework. My life is overwhelming. So one of the things I'll often ask people is, how much time do you spend on social media? And 90% of the time, people underestimate how much time they spend on it. Of course, now, a lot of our phones have an app that will tell us, it's pretty easy on different social media devices to see how many hours you spent on social media. But people would grossly underestimate by, hours a day, how much time they spent on it.
Oh, definitely. And
it's,
yeah,
10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, it really adds up over the course of the day. So again, it goes back to just helping people become more intentional of when they're using it, how they're using it, why they're using it. Are we using it to build a business? Are we using it to cope with anxiety? Are we using it because we're lonely? And in which case, then, are you using it in a way that helps with your loneliness? Are you actually connecting with friends and family members, or are you just scrolling and looking at what celebrities and other people are doing, and it's causing you to feel lonely because you're seeing these other people doing these cool things? Right.
True. Yeah. Yeah, fantastic. That's the whole point of Instagram. Actually, Instagram they did put this timer that you can track down how many hours you spend. And for me, I was doing my stuff for fun to spread knowledge and science, because I love science and I love sports, and I was just like, yeah, that's cool to give others feedback. But then my family was telling me, hey, you know what? It's hard for us to just talk to you because you're always checking, answering others, not answering us. And I was just, holy smoke. Okay, I really need to realize if I'm doing this correctly or not. And in overall, and I have to admit, I'm not a king in anything, so I have to admit it did probably impact my personal life and my professional life, because the time I was spending on social media was not the time I was spending on my business probably. And it was like the rush in my business, and sometimes I was just like procrastinating and pushing back some decision to take. At the end of the day, you have to realize that, as you said, Sonia, this is it. This is your day. You have to take your decision and make it happen. And that's how it changed for me. And I think that how probably I can tell people that are listening today to do the same things. It's just like step back, relax, and look at it, and realize that something is not doing well, and you can change it by yourself, just by being more strong mentally, like Amy would say. Sonia, you seems to be perplexed, thinking about what?
Yes, 100%. And then I think there's also a beautiful opportunity with socials. Like, yes. I can at any point go swipe up and join my Zoom, my community, my anything. Like, we are creating community. There's beauty in creating communities. And at every moment, people have been in COVID and they had the opportunity to understand about socials and how to use socials for their business and how to use socials for, as an author.
Sports.
My book, without ever writing a page, I had funding for my book. Why? Because I have a community. So there is so many benefits about having a personal brand that is completely authentically who you are. You're able to really reach, you're able to build communities around the world. If I host a retreat, as soon as this reopens, I'm sold out. I don't have to do a single dollar of marketing. Why? Because people will speak over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So there's
benefits.
Yeah, of course there is. That's why it is so important to be intentional about it, to build a personal brand that has, the pillars about who you are. And at first, you're going to lose people because they're not going to understand. But it's okay. You're going to gain people that are in alignment with the community that you have, the values that you have, how you show up on your platform, and they will become your community. And then you will have the opportunity to share your community with other people around the world. I love that. Like, this is what we do right now. And I show up for you. Or like, I didn't even stuff away. I was like, yes, whatever you want. I'm here.
Right? Yeah, I love it. Thank you again for that. Yeah. It's true. Always in. But there's positivity on Instagram. I've met people or two that are fantastic. There's friends that are, that there's followers that became really good friends after. And this is the way that communication has to be today. It's like there is no borders, no countries, and you can be from Pakistan or United States or India or whatsoever. We're all good people in the world, I guess, and we just need to communicate in that way. So social media, for that, I love it. Spreading good vibes and having a community and sharing ideas and making friends or relation, and this is on the personal point of view. Now, if you take it on the business point of view, well, it's even better. If you run a business on social media today, no businesses are not. You cannot run a business without being on social media anyway. So those are probably the benefits of it, I guess. I think on personally, Amy, you do your business on social media as well. You're on LinkedIn a lot of time. You do TED Talk, which are now more or less videos, and they're not anymore. I don't think they do talk anymore live. It's just video talks, huh?
Yeah, I think for the most part, given COVID, they've been doing that. But yeah, and I'm not opposed to social media. I used to do therapy one-on-one. I could only reach one person at a time. Now I can reach millions of people. And a lot of the skills, the strategies, the things I talk about in my podcast, the things I talk about on social media, the exact same skills, tools, coping strategies that people were coming in and paying me for on a one-on-one basis. I can now give a lot of that information away for free and reach way more people. And it's like one of the interesting things I'm finding is how many people all over the planet don't even have access to talk to a therapist. There's plenty of people in foreign countries who it's just not an option, or the stigma is so much over there that they can't even tell their families, hey, I think I need help, because it's frowned upon, or they come from a culture where you just can't talk to someone. I'm able to reach them, and free of charge, they can tune in and listen and read my things. So for those reasons, I love social media. I can reach people all over the globe now. I used to work in a really rural setting where I saw just one person at a time. I get to do this on a completely global level now, and I love that.
Is it easier now because people would talk more freely because they're behind a phone, or than face to face? I know that some people. One of my friend has his mother with some health problem, and he's the type of guy that doesn't talk at all. And would he talk more because he would be like on video or in the middle of an assembly, maybe? What do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting. And, because I talk about mental strength too. So sometimes people don't want to talk about mental health. And I always try to differentiate between mental health and mental strength. It's like physical strength and physical health. You can go to the gym, lift weights, and become physically strong, but you still might get a physical health problem. You could still get diabetes someday.
That's it.
Mental strength and mental health is the same. I help people prevent mental health problems, but if you get depressed or anxious, it's not necessarily a sign of weakness. And we do find sometimes I'll speak to a corporation or a organization, and maybe it's very serious people who have never talked to a therapist, but when I'm done giving the presentation, they'll come up and ask me a question. And there might not be anybody that would ever call to schedule a therapy appointment with me. And during COVID, so many therapists have turned to just having to do online therapy. So often they're chatting via video. And I'm hearing from some of them who say people are really opening up, or some people say it's easier to talk on the phone and I don't have to watch my therapist's reaction when I tell them what's going on. So they find that to be easier. Other people say, I can't wait to get back in person so we can sit face to face and have a conversation. And of course, privacy is a big issue for some people. Their kids are home, their partners are there. So they say, it's really hard to talk to a therapist. I have to go to the car, or I'm locking myself in the bathroom to have a semi-private conversation. So there's pros and cons to it. But one of the great things is there's so many therapists and mental health experts who have written books, and they are on social media, and you can get so much feedback from them just by following them on.
Yeah, and just reading posts on mental health. If you follow the hashtag of mental health, is like so full of very good thing and very bad thing as well. But this is Instagram. You get the bad and the good everywhere. Sonia?
Yeah, I think to me, we run a lot of accounts as well, and we build personal for speakers and mates. And one of my great friends who we are fortunate to run his personal brand, he speaks all over the world. He was with Tony Robbins for 20 years, and he has a massive community. And he realizes, wait a second, like, imagine if we were to build him, which we're doing now, his socials, so that at any moment he's selling out his own event. He's selling out his own book. He's launching his own things. He's building his own brand. And you already have your community that's yours, because as speakers, yes, I can get hired from, and I do banks and I do insurance, all of that stuff. That's corporate. However, to my community, I can at every moment just keep giving value, keep telling them it's going to be okay, keep showing up for them and giving them a moment of happiness and a smile. And so there's reasons when you're really, really intentional about your personal brand, and you know exactly who your audience is, and you speak to that audience. And I think the most important work to be done is like, who are you even talking to? Like, who's your audience? And what's your message? Are you here to educate them? Are you here to entertain them? Maybe you've got maybe you've got some good.
Yeah, that could be it too. Why not?
Maybe you're a beauty blogger. Maybe you're a teacher, and you've got to teach us some phenomenal learning for our kids. Like, know exactly what it is that you're providing on socials, and then create a personal brand or a business brand if you're a business that's in complete alignment with those pillars. Then you don't feel like you're in this like mesh of, oh my God, I don't know what to post. Oh my God, there's so much judgment. No, doesn't actually need to affect you. This is this is in the end world.
Life on purpose. That's the thing. Life on purpose. Yeah, it's true. So right. I want to jump back on all this concept to the first thing we said. Like we scroll down because we're bored. For me, boredom is fantastic. It's one of the best biohack that one can use when it's used properly, because it's the way that we open up our mind, and people are always scared to be bored. What do you think about this boredom? Should we use it? Should we avoid boredom? Is it good? Is it bad? And it all depends on the person. In terms of, we're not going to go deep into the neuroscience for that, but just in general, as mental health, positive or negative?
Well, I think any emotion has the ability to be positive or negative. We talk so much about, say, like anger is a bad emotion, but happiness is a good one. But when you think about it, any emotion has the ability to be helpful or harmful in our lives. So if you take excitement, most people would say excitement's a great emotion. Well, let's say somebody approaches you with a get-rich-quick scheme and you're really excited about it. You completely underestimate the chances that you're going to fail.
This is true.
And so I think we need to look at emotions and say, is this a friend or an enemy right now? Boredom can be your friend. Sometimes it's nice to be bored. It's okay to say, all right. Or sometimes we're at a meeting and it's boring. That's okay. You can sit through, you can tolerate it.
You can meditate.
Right. We don't need to always escape uncomfortable emotions. But there are times where we need to recognize when an emotion becomes harmful. So if you're bored And then because you're bored, you are just sitting around and you're not doing anything for 3 days and you get stuck in this cycle of boredom. That's when we know it's not helpful. It's becoming harmful. And we need to do something different to figure out, well, what can I do to either entertain myself or to feel better?
Yeah, I love it. It's exactly it. For boredom for me, I think that is one of the most important emotion to judge and to judge as well. And if you can handle it very well, it's so powerful. It's crazy. You can get that creativity at the hyper level that you would never expect. Sonia, you have your point on that. I see you moving.
Because I'm a mom, right? So for me, do you know how many times my kids tell me, "Mommy, I'm bored. Mommy, I'm bored."
Yeah,
it's like, I love that. Kid, be bored. Yeah. Figure it out. Like, why do we as moms feel like, oh, let me throw you an iPad, let me throw you a game, let me entertain you? That is not my job. I am not here to entertain you. You will learn beautiful skill sets of what to do when you're bored, because what happens when you're bored is you're creating space. And creating space is phenomenal. For one thing, there's possibility in space, right? In sitting with yourself and actually just sitting this stillness is so powerful, because what can you create, right? Like, I love that.
How kid, you're using your cortex to analyze that and just to think and to realize that yes, it's good because you're creating that space and you're going to use that space. But a kid doesn't have the same cortex, and it's not even developed at that age. How do you teach them that?
First of all, I'm sure every parent can relate to this, because and also, when did we sign up?
Oh, yeah.
When did I become, your full-time entertainment? Like, that's not my job. My kids will tell me, like, "Oh, Mommy, I'm so bored." And I'm like, okay. And my kid did it yesterday. Like, I don't have to go very far.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, Mia. So she's like, "Oh, I want to," I'm like, "So what do you want to do?" And like, help them discover the possibility. You guys, the possibility, and I'll just sit there and I'm not going to solve it for her. I'm just not. It's not my job. I'll be like, "All right, so what can we do? How can we solve this? Can we color? Can we draw? Can we go play? Can we go downstairs? Like, what can you do? It's not my job to solve it for you." And with our clients, it's like there's beauty in the stillness, in this what you call boredom. I don't call it boredom at all. I call it like, right? If you change the words that you use,
True, that's a good idea. Yeah.
As biggest things is the power of words. Like, that is my number one thing. And even as a parent, I go, like, use your words wisely. That's what you manifest into your life, right? So what we have in this stillness is possibility. So what can we do with this beautiful possibility? How can you use your time to go back to the values and to shift into, well, that's what I'm actually going to do with my time. And wow, what beautiful lesson I had to actually have time to think.
Yeah, and not scroll down on Instagram and see who's your followers and
that's not helpful.
That's it. Yeah, one of the questions that was asked before, it's kind of going back on what we said before, but you said, Sonia, you can unfollow people and whenever they don't fit in your lifestyle or mindset. Someone said that, what do you do with family? They create anxiety when you look at their profile or you look at their page, but you cannot unfollow them because of religion related or things like that. What's your point?
You mute them. So there's a beautiful setting, which is called mute. They won't take
True.
it. Like, to me, also to everybody listening, if you go and you choose to unfollow an account, you don't have to wave goodbye and tell them on your phone. No, nobody, it's fine. Do you know how many people that, especially now with this like extreme state, that they'll come and they'll tell me, again, that's their identity. That is their definition of who they want me to be. That's not me. So I will tell them, clearly, you and I are just not aligned or just not meant to be. Please go ahead and unfollow.
But they cannot, this person in particular, I don't think that she will ever say that she's muting a member of the family or whatsoever because there is consequences. It depends on the country you live in, and that's related to religion. But yeah, I agree on the mute button.
Beautiful button if
Yeah.
they're your friends, or if they are, and you feel like you don't even need the anxiety and that whole conversation. If not, truly, like, you don't have to follow everyone. It's not because, for some of you who have smaller accounts, it's not because somebody follows you that you have to follow them back. Choose.
I don't follow anyone.
Be careful, because what you let in your head is what is going to shape you. The discussion you have, the moments you have at every single time you're in choice, and you can make a different choice. And if you feel like you're following an account that's really just not aligned with who you are and your values, it's not for you. Just unfollow. It's a beautiful thing. Go find your people.
Yeah, it's true. And actually, in the follow and follow stuff, I found that I don't follow many people. I follow 30 people. It's just on purpose because I keep contact and interaction with through direct messages, and this is way more authentic than following somebody just for following somebody and putting a like there. And I do put likes and comments on in many accounts, not only 30. It's just because I have a relationship with people through DM, and those are very authentic. And this is where you build your community, as you said, Sonia, before. And I think that's one of the good things of Instagram, is that you don't have to follow all the rules that are dictated by the popularity that people are chasing on a daily basis. And this is what I think, and Amy will probably back up on that. This is what creates the biggest anxiety in this platform, in social media in general.
Yeah, we tend to create these self-imposed rules, like I have to post every day, or I have to follow everybody who follows me, or and those sorts of things tend to create so much more anxiety. Or I have to check Instagram, I have to reply to every comment. Sometimes just letting go of those strange rules we make for ourselves, and know that the world will continue to rotate on its axis if you don't reply to every comment, if you don't like everything that your sister says. If you're able to let go of a lot of that, then it can help us have a much healthier relationship with social media.
It's true. I 100% agree on that. And I'm talking about my personal experience here. I'm sharing it with the therapist, actually, so everyone can assist to my therapy at the same time, which is fantastic.
That's great.
Yeah, thanks for that. So we're going to jump. It's oh my God, yeah, it's already an hour. So we're going to jump to our conclusion. Overall, life can change if you take a reset or a detox from Instagram, and if you live on purpose, and if you take the right decision. Is there anything that you guys would give as a final concept and answer to the community, how to manage their life for being happy on Instagram and not stress and avoid anxiety and live a happy life on a daily basis? It's all yours now. You have a couple of minutes to preach your message there. So Amy, start, please.
So the first thing would just be to be more intentional about when you use it and how often you use it and how it's affecting your life. I think the easiest way to do that is to pause before you open any apps, before you check social media, is to say to yourself, how do I feel right now? Put a name to your emotion. There's tons of science behind how just labeling your feelings can reduce the intensity of them. If you say, I'm anxious, I'm sad, I'm bored, I'm lonely, you might instantly start to feel just a little bit better. Then go ahead, scroll through social media if that's what you still want to do. And when you're done, put a name to that emotion too. Are you more anxious? Are you less anxious? Are you now feeling happier? Maybe you are. But that can just help you become so much more aware of how social media is affecting your emotional state, your mental strength, and how it's impacting your life. So that would be my first recommendation. If you want to get better with social media or figure out if it's what sort of role it's playing in your life, just name your feelings before and after.
That's gold. That's fantastic. Thank you, Amy. This is perfect. There's nothing I can add. So it's like on the top. Sonia, please kill it.
So to me, it is to get back to the essence of what it is that makes you happy. period. I don't care about social media, about other people. I don't care. That's a tool. It's a tool, guys. So why are you using it? Be really intentional about why you showing up. What is the impact? What is the values that you're using them? Is it to grow your business? Is it to grow your community? Is it to just give inspiration, fun? Why? But then let's go back and say, hey, like, let's write down all the things that make you happy in your life. And once you get to plan your day, then put these little 10 minutes in and out. Let me just go back and get a little juice of some fun accounts that make me happy. And then you take it away, you turn off all notifications, and you're really, really present to who you are with your kids, who you are in your business, who you are with your friendships. So everything is about tools that we use, but it's our power to use it our way with our definition.
I love it. Fantastic. One question personal question. What time of the day you do that? Asking yourself or putting it back and taking the right decision for your day. Do you do it at the end of the day or in the morning when you start or before going to sleep because you know that you're going to sleep on it?
No, are you kidding me? First of all, I plan, like, this is my day. Like, we could do another live month. I plan my week on Sunday. Every single morning, I set my intentions. Every morning, I don't have unintentional times. Like, I'm in choice. I'm here. I'm fully present. And then I'm hopping into my next meeting. And at every single time, I check back into alignment and go, am I aligned with this? If I am, then yes, I'll go out. If I'm not, then I'll quietly go and say, guys, I gotta go.
Clever. Very clever. Awesome. That's a lot of information. Thank you so much for being my guest today. It was a thrill, a blast. For the audience, the video is going to be on AGTV today because I don't touch anything. It's natural and we're all like live. So we don't make correction the way it is. It's the way it's going to be posted today. Go there, put a like, put a fun of it, but put your question. This is the most important. We're going to answer them if you have. And please follow my guests. They're like crazy. This is high-level content. They have so much to say. Yeah, beautiful. You are beautiful, woman. Thank you so much, Amy. Thank you so much, Sonia. Hopefully, I'll get you again on another live. It was a thrill.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Jean. Thank you. And to everybody that logged in, one step, do one thing that you're going to implement today. Have a beautiful day.